Now at 5 a.m. on WKYT this morning, multiple crews are at the scene of a deadly apartment fire in Winchester. It's a true tragedy as we learn additional details, and just ahead, we're live at the scene with the breaking story.
And a judge is expected to issue sentencing in a high-profile Lexington murder case today. Details on what's expected from the courtroom coming up.
And Fayette County school officials say they are working on a plan to fix radon issues at 9 schools. More on what parents need to know about that just ahead.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Chamberlain. It is Friday.
It finally is.
Finally.
Just when you thought it wouldn't get here. I'm Bill Bryant, and we're glad you're with us this morning. We have a lot going on, including that breaking story out of Winchester. We'll get you the details. Of course, the Wildcats play tonight, and it's just not a bad day out there at all weather-wise.
Not a bad day at all. A little rain, though, right, Micah?
Yeah, we have a little rain down toward the south, a little mist here and there, but once we hit 3-4 hours later than where we are now, it actually pushed all that on out. So it's a pretty good day in store. That's the cool front that you're seeing there on radars. It's trying to push the rain on out. And you can see the difference of temperatures as this front rolls on through. 48 northbound, 60 southbound. So it kind of depends on where you are at this very moment. But then we hit the afternoon, low to mid 60s, mostly cloudy day. So most of us stay dry. We don't see any rain later on this afternoon. It's into the weekend. We're going to see a warm front move through. That will give us another chance of rain, but really bump up the temperatures. So I'm going to take you hour by hour. I'm going to show you when you could expect these dry slots coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Micah. We begin this morning with breaking news out of Clark County. Emergency crews are at the scene of a fatal fire in Winchester.
It's a terrible story. The fire started about 1:30 this morning at an apartment on Spring Mist Lane. WKYT's Mark Barber is joining us live from the scene, where we are just learning from the police that at least 2 people have been killed in this fire. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. That's exactly right. Firefighters tell me that at least 2 people were killed in this fire and 7 more were hurt when this fire ripped through the apartment building here off of Spring Mist Lane in Winchester. Now, I'm told several people are in critical condition in the hospital right now. We're told that this fire started around 1:30 this morning, and we're told that it destroyed a total of 10 apartment units, all of those a part of one building. Now, the battalion chief is telling me this morning that he does not know how this fire started yet, and he thinks that the investigation into this devastating fire could last well into tomorrow. Now, this was a very traumatic experience for children who escaped the fire. Some people told us that when they woke up and saw the flames, they believed they were going to die. So that paints a picture for you of how terrifying this morning was for many folks here. Now, one neighbor is describing for us how he rushed out to help children who were shivering in the cold.
A few of the children didn't have anything on at all. Gathered some blankets, socks, just some old stuff that, my kids are no longer wearing that would fit the children. So just wanted to make sure that they were okay.
10 apartments are completely gone. The battalion chief tells me he does not know how many people have been displaced, but he does know that the Red Cross is on scene, helping line a place for those people to stay in the meantime. So that's the latest here. We'll bring you another live update in the next half hour of WKYT News. In the meantime, we will continue to speak with fire investigators who are trying to figure out what started this fire that they say killed 2 people and injured 7 others. Live in Winchester, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Just a terrible scene this morning, and a lot more to learn about, how it happened and what happens next. Right, a high-profile Lexington murder case is scheduled to return to the courtroom today.
Just a few hours from now, Donald Southworth, who entered an Alford plea after having his murder conviction overturned, will face a judge for sentencing. Southworth is accused of murdering his wife in 2010. WKYT's Mike Byer is at the live desk with more on the sentencing.
A Lexington man whose murder conviction was overturned nearly 2 years ago by the Kentucky Supreme Court has entered an Alford plea to a charge of first-degree manslaughter in the 2010 beating death of his wife. Donald Southworth, who was granted a new trial after the high court overturned the murder charge, entered the plea in early February during a court hearing. An Alford plea allows the defendant to plead guilty to the crime but still maintain his or her innocence. A Fayette County court jury found the 53-year-old man guilty of murder in 2012. That charge stemmed from the death of his wife, Umi Southworth, who was found naked and brutally beaten behind their home in June of 2010. She died the following day at the hospital. Now, the Supreme Court's March 2014 decision to overturn Southworth's murder conviction revolved around testimony about his sexual history. The High Court said it overturned the conviction because the Commonwealth's attorney gave prejudicial proof that Southworth did an unusual sexual act once before without proving first that the act also happened in the murder case. Now, Southworth is scheduled to be sentenced this afternoon on the manslaughter charge. Prosecutors have recommended a 15-year sentence. At the live desk, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. Now, a Simpson County Sheriff's deputy is recovering this morning. Police say he was shot serving an arrest warrant. Deputy Eddie Lawson was serving a warrant to 28-year-old Ben Wyatt at his home in the Franklin community when Wyatt pulled out a gun and began shooting. Police say Lawson was struck twice in the pelvis and knee area. They say he returned fire, hitting the suspect in the arm. An employee at a business across the street said she had just walked into work when the shooting started.
And I heard like 6 shots being fired, so I ran up here to the window to see what was going on, and then I saw the deputy running across the backyard.
Police say Deputy Lawson and the suspect are both stable at this time. They say Wyatt's warrants were for assault, menacing, and terroristic threatening. Police say he will face additional charges following their investigation.
Well, this morning, Fayette County school leaders say that 9 schools have higher levels of radon than they consider to be acceptable. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that is associated with health problems after long-term exposure. Schools in Kentucky are not required to test radon levels, but in Fayette County, Locust Trace had a higher radon level a year ago, so the Fayette County public school system decided to test the levels at every school. They also set their standard the same as the EPA's residential exposure level, which is a 4.
We had a high of 15.8, and we had a low of 4.
Who was 15.8?
15.8 was Harrison.
Okay.
And that's one sample.
Who was 4?
4 was Scapa.
The next step, the school board needs to sign off on $570,000 to fix the radon levels. FCPS will start working to fix the problem over the spring break, and then they hope to finish up over the summer.
The Fayette County Board of Education has elected Melissa Bacon as its new chair. The decision was announced last night. Bacon was the board's previous vice chair. The board says current school board member Amanda Ferguson will become the new vice chair. The former board chair, John Price, died last month after battling cancer.
Well, a special dog in eastern Kentucky has been through a lot, but she hasn't given up, and neither are folks around her. Now the Menifee County shelter is hoping that her story will inspire people to help out. The animal shelter says Shay, a chocolate lab, suffered serious injuries after likely being hit by a car. Due to the severity of her injuries, shelter officials were forced to amputate Shay's 2 front legs. But she has since recovered. Shay is still having a very difficult time walking, and now the shelter is raising money to help her get around.
We're hoping that we can get her a wheelchair so that she can motor like she always does.
Sweet dog. The shelter hopes to raise $1,300. That would be enough to cover the wheelchair and Shay's surgeries. And if you'd like to help out, you can find how to donate on WKYT.com or the WKYT News app.
Bill, it is that time of year again. The Big Blue Nation is ready for March Madness, and tonight the UK basketball team will begin its run in the SEC tournament. Right.
The Wildcats found out yesterday afternoon that they will be facing off against the Alabama Crimson Tide. UK is a strong favorite going into the game, as they've already defeated Alabama twice this season. Coach John Calipari says his team is playing with confidence right now, and he hopes their strong play of late will continue this evening. If you can't make it down to Nashville, you can watch tonight's game. It'll be at 7 o'clock on the SEC WKYT network. Should be a fun game and hopefully a good run in this SEC tournament for the Cats. For the latest UK and SEC tournament coverage, check out our website, WKYT.com, or the WKYT News app. And we have a team down there covering the team.
Oh, yeah, it's exciting times.
The time is 5:09. WKYT This Morning, just getting started.
A Phoenix police officer was shocked after a small dog climbed into the undercarriage of his SUV. Look at how he got there, just ahead.
And the White House is now aiming to make diapers more affordable for families across the country. More on a new initiative when WKYT This Morning returns.
And as a dad, I can give a thumbs up for that. Look, we're going to be seeing bits and pieces of sunny skies later on this afternoon. Mostly cloudy today as that front tries to move on out. We are going to show you the forecast for today and your weekend plans coming up.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We saw that front moving on through. This is your cool front this morning. Tomorrow is going to be a warm front. So yeah, the cool air comes in here. It tries to settle in and says, yeah, I'm just going to settle in for the next 24 hours. And then the warm air takes right back over for tomorrow. We'll be in the mid-70s tomorrow, low 60s today. But there's that front. Let's talk about what's going on down south. And what do we expect to happen through the next couple of hours when you get on the roads, when you're getting the kids out the door? This is the way it's going to go. The next 2 to 4 hours, expect this to fade away. I would say by 8, 9 a.m., this will be long gone, and you're going to still out of this. You're not getting much. You're getting a couple of sprinkles, a couple of light showers, and that's about it. But that moves on out, and that front will push through, too. And once that front pushes through, look at your temperature difference from north to south. 48 in Covington, 60s down south. So it all depends on where you are because that cooler air is trying to nudge on in. But you know as well as I do, if you live in southeastern Kentucky, in the mountainous regions, it just takes a little time with these weak fronts to try to push on through. So here's what we're going to be dealing with the next several hours. We get toward noontime, everybody, mostly cloudy skies, 56 degrees. Not too bad. It's nothing like the past few days. It's not all that bad. 62 by the afternoon at 4 p.m. So the kids coming home from school, maybe you getting ready to head out to dinner to go watch the ball game at some place. It'll be really good looking weather. It won't be the best looking day, but it'll be a nice feeling day at 62 degrees. Go off toward the evening at 59 into the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. Not too shabby. We're still holding on to the upper 40s, lower 50s. So that's where we're starting off tomorrow morning. Here's 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Going out for your run, whatever it may be, trying to knock some things out before things really get going there for the weekend. You will be dealing with at least the chance at a couple of showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder there tomorrow morning as that warm front pushes northbound. Then what you're going to see, those temperatures, they're in the low to mid-70s. So it's a really good feel tomorrow. Just can't rule out that rain chance in the forecast. It's 30-40%. None of us with a washout by any means. Head off towards Sunday. Yeah, here comes your washout. I mean, virtually everybody gets in on the action with showers and thunderstorms too. Let's check out your 7-day forecast. Here's what we can expect there for the next 7 days. 62 degrees today, up into the 70s tomorrow, back down in the 60s on Sunday. It's going to be up and down as these fronts try to roll on through. The best chance of rain Sunday into Monday, and then you look toward next week, guys. Look at that, 44 degrees on Thursday. We had a nice long strand of spring weather. Then we get closer to spring, and it drops back down to a winter feel. Of course, right?
And you kind of trick the mind. It's like, oh, spring is here finally. And then you show me 30 degrees.
Well,
yeah, right.
Seldom do the calendar and the weather agree in Kentucky.
Well, that's true.
Notice that?
Yeah, that's very true.
Right. Remember the warm Christmas this year?
That was nice. Can't complain about that.
All right, time is coming up on 5:16.
A little dog in Phoenix ended up in a very unusual spot this week, the undercarriage of a police SUV.
It started when an officer came across a pack of small dogs running in the street. He honked and some people ran off, but one, this little Chihuahua mix, ran under his Tahoe and jumped into the undercarriage. He says the dog refused to come out, not even when tempted with a hot dog. Animal control officials were called in and they managed finally to free the dog. The officer says it's all in a day's work.
Yeah, I'm a dog owner. I'm also a huge animal lover in general, particularly when it comes to dogs. And, you know, I mean, part of our job, public service, regardless, is also some of our four-legged friends at time, and we do what we can to try and keep them safe as well.
Animal control is holding the dog for 72 hours before putting her up for adoption. They say she appears to be in good health and likely was not living on the streets for a long time and knows how to find some safety. I guess.
She's a cutie. My kids would be like, let's bring her home.
Oh, she's sweet. No doubt about it. All right, the time this morning is coming up on 5:17. It's your Friday. Good to have you with us on WKYT.
Yeah, when we return, we'll have a look at your money.
A popular clothing retailer has announced it's closing hundreds of its stores. Plus, breakfast is getting a lot cheaper at one fast food chain. I'm Hannah Daniels in New York. I'll have those stories and much more coming up in your CBS Money Watch report.
Hey, welcome back into WKYT this morning. It is 5:20 here on your Friday. We're glad you're with us this morning as we get you up to the minute on what's going on. CVS is investing $50 million in an anti-smoking campaign, and Tailored Brands is closing about 250 stores.
And Taco Bell is launching a $1 menu breakfast. Hannah Daniels has the latest on your money.
On Thursday, the markets lost some ground. Here's a look at the numbers. The Dow closed down 5 points and the Nasdaq gave up 12 points. CVS is participating in an anti-smoking ad campaign targeting young people. The drugstore giant is investing $50 million in Be the First, a campaign urging the next generation of Americans not to smoke. CVS stopped selling tobacco products over a year ago, saying smoking conflicts with its mission to promote healthy living, forgoing $2 billion in annual sales. Tailored Brands, formerly known as Men's Warehouse, has announced plans to close roughly 250 stores this year, including several Jose Bank stores. The company says it's part of a cost-cutting effort after years of declining sales. The clothing retailer lost $1 billion in 2015. Breakfast is getting cheaper at Taco Bell. The Mexican fast food chain launched its $1 breakfast menu on Thursday. Customers will now be able to order 10 breakfast items, including new additions like the sausage flatbread quesadilla and a mini skillet bowl. Rival McDonald's phased out its $1 menu 2 years ago. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. In New York, I'm Hannah Daniels.
Diapers are a must-have baby item, but they can also be quite expensive, especially for those suffering financially. That's why the White House is now launching a new initiative to make diapers more affordable for low-income families. The program gives low-income families access to diapers up to 25% cheaper than what is currently available. White House officials say about 1 in 3 families have trouble affording diapers for their babies. They say a big contributor is because diapers are not covered by federal assistance programs. White House officials say the program launches at the end of next month.
All right, well, that could provide some relief to a lot of folks. Certainly
good news for families.
Expense, yeah. All right, 5:22 on WKYT this morning. Good to have you with us. We have a lot more news on the way.
That's right. Sports is next.
The Wildcats will look to roll the Tide for a 3rd time this season when they take on Alabama tonight in the SEC quarterfinals. We'll talk about that next in sports.
Looking at a couple of showers down toward the far south and southeastern areas. None of that's heavy rain. This is just more of a nuisance than anything else. Once that pushes on out, then that cooler air drives on in here. It's cooler, but it's not cold, okay? We're still talking about low 60s to mid 60s later on this afternoon. I'm going to show you your weekend forecast where it gets much warmer and also with a better opportunity of rain coming up. First, let's check out sports to see what's going on.
Well, Kentucky steps on the court in Nashville tonight where they will meet Alabama in the SEC tournament quarterfinals. These Wildcats have as much confidence as they've had all season. Part of the reason for that is Skal Labissiere. The play of Skal has been a real highlight for this team over the last 2 games. John Calipari has put his team in better position, and Skal has been better effective. Cal has had to keep after the 7-foot freshman, though, even this week.
He was a little bit light either Tuesday or Wednesday, and I absolutely drilled him. Like, you're not doing that. You will not start. If you think you're reverting back, your butt will be right on that bench. And he kind of, where he would let go of the rope, he's like, he grabs onto it again. So he's trying.
Of course, we now know who will be Kentucky's quarterfinal opponent. The Wildcats will need to roll the Tide for a 3rd time this season. Alabama first had to beat Ole Miss last night in the 2nd round. Pick it up in the first half. Stephon Moody launches and buries this 3 from Mississippi from almost half court. Moody hit 8 3-pointers. He dropped 39 points. However, the Rebels were down by 4 at the break. Second half, Justin Coleman misses, but Renton Obasahan is there for the putback dunk. Alabama up 8. Later in the half, tied up 7. Coleman drives. A truck could have driven through there. Wide open layup is good. Next possession, Coleman again gets inside, somehow gets that one to drop. Alabama wins 81-73. Now the Tide prepare for Kentucky.
Tough team. We've got to minimize our mistakes and not turn the ball over. Take care of the ball, rebound, and we should be in pretty good shape. That's all, because we really have a good defense. We just, rebounds kill us. And once we hit the boards, we're pretty good.
Here it is. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kentucky taking on Alabama tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time. You can see it on the SEC network. And of course, we will have the highlights and post-game reaction for you after the Cats win tonight at 11 right here on WKYT. For now, that'll do it for your morning sports. Have a great day.